Hello, hi, I'm Cryptic Hybrid, and this is Umbra Mortis. Now, Umbra Mortis is a visual novel in which you play a man who's been infected with a deadly new disease. So, let's see how he deals with that. Let's go right in and play Umbra Mortis. New game. I'm dying. That's a pretty, disturbing start. I can feel the disease working in my body, malignant cells ravaging my insides, a raging biofire consuming my flesh and polluting my blood. It is spreading fast, leaving necrotic flesh in its wake, a deepening shadow inside me. The pain is huge at times, unpredictable, shooting through my body in bright, brittle balls that leave me gasping for breath despite the painkillers. It is a relentless, monstrous ailment, and it has devastated my life. It's okay, it's not going to be a long life, so I don't know how much time I have left. The doctors refuse to say. They tell me that life expectancy predictions aren't known yet for this disease, and that there are too many parameters. They want me to fight it, but I don't think I have much fight left. Maybe it's because I've accepted the inexorability of my sickness and thus the inevitability of my fate. Or maybe it's because I don't have much reason to fight. 8 months ago, I was a healthy and unsuspecting 35-year-old. If you told me then that in less than a year I would lose my health and nearly my mind to fatal illness, I would have laughed. Such is the frailty of our lives and the idiocy of our egos. We live as if we're immortal when in fact death crouches outside our door, gibbering and hungry. 2 years earlier, I began my career in a nose-diving economy, fresh out of college. Wait, what? He was fresh out of college at 33 years old? Okay, fresh out of college, armed only with a bachelor's in finance and naive optimism. I managed to get a job, a deadbeat 8-hour gig as an accountant in a struggling software distribution firm. I detest the work. It was mind-numbingly drudgery. But jobs were scarce at the time, and there were others who would have been happy to take my place. I was saddled with loans. My ma, the only family I had, passed away a year earlier after a long bitter fight with cancer, and the insurance had only gone some way. I also had an education loan, of course, and you can't default on those. I lived in a tiny studio apartment that I could barely afford in the most crowded part of the city. I think this guy lived in San Francisco. I mean, so it all seems like that. Like loans, crappy job, expensive rent, San Francisco. Life was stressful to say the least. And then there was my relationship with Anita. We'd met at university. She'd been doing a degree in mass communications and journalism. Looking back, it seems that we had gravitated to one another naturally. She comes from a lower middle class background like me, and we understood each other's aspirations and fears. Money, rather the lack of it, health and insurance, jobs and stability. We'd grown up seeing adults fretting constantly over these things. Some of them, like our parents, managed to stay afloat, while others sank, swallowed by the maw of poverty. She had emotional baggage and troubles of her own, a burdensome narcissist mother, among other things, but Anita was the brightest person I'd ever met. She was perhaps the good thing I had in my life. The one good thing I had in my life. But I didn't know it then. Things were getting shaky. A year into our relationship. It's not working. We're not working. And I get the feeling that you don't want it to work. That you're doing everything you can to sabotage us. That's not true. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Well, I don't know if it's true or not, because I don't know the guy. So, let's say lots of stuff going on. Welcome to the club. Nobody has it easy. I know you have lots of stress, but that's all the more reason for us to pull together. It helps if you talk about it instead of withdrawing and keeping all that stuff bottled in. Actually, she's right about that. I try? Honey, I'm sorry, maybe you are, but when I'm here, do you realize that you barely look at me? It's like you're lost somewhere inside yourself. I know that losing your mom hit you hard, and I know you had a lot going on, but pushing me away, pushing me out is not helping us. I'm sorry, I think. Yeah, let's apologize, because that sounds like, you know, let's not antagonize. I know you are, honey, but I think maybe we only know the value of what we have when we don't have it. Amma used to treat me like shit. Nothing I did could make her happy. Now that I'm not with her, she hovers over me every day. Well, I'm not your mother. That's a good point, actually. No, you're not. And that's not what I meant. We should take a break until you figure out what's eating you and what you really want. Well, what's eating me is a freaking disease, apparently. That must have been our last conversation before I got sick. It's strange. Now that I'm dying, I realize that she was right. Whenever I think of her, I regret that I didn't see how lucky I was to have her. I regret that I wasn't a better man, more forgiving, more forthcoming. Yeah, and that you didn't put a ring on it. If I knew that I was going to be dealt this card, I would have held on to her and never let go. Oh, this is his hospital room, right? I know now that I love her, and that it's too late. But I'm also glad that we fell apart before I fell ill. How much worse it would have been for her to be saddled with a dying lover. When Anita learned I was sick, she came back into my life as a concerned friend. She visits me here at the hospital, but I discourage her from coming. The terminal wing of a hospital is a dreary place. Death lurks in every corner, in every shadow. Besides, I don't want her to remember me like this. I want her to remember me the way I was before I was diminished by this monstrous illness. I do not want her to be burned by the thing I had become. She shouldn't have to walk in the shadow of death. When the disease hit me and smashed apart my life, I sunk into an abyss, an endless darkness in which I came closer to going insane. I asked all the usual questions. Why me? I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a serial killer or a rapist or a pedophile. I may not be a saint, but I'm not evil. So why was I struck with this? But I had no one to ask these questions. Since I didn't believe in God, I could only turn inwards, sinking deeper and deeper into the abyss. I wondered, is this body all that I am? What happens when you die? Where do I go? Does my life just end? Or do I have a soul? An immaterial infinite other that lives on? Well, maybe that would be a comforting feeling at this point. But there were no answers. Good morning. I'm so sorry. We'll have to go. We're going to have to wake you up. Oh. So, how are you feeling today? Dr. Suresh is a good man. I get a feeling that he really cares about his patients, that he sees them as people, fellow human beings who have gotten sick. Well, that would be like an accurate way of looking at people. Once, while he was talking to me about one of his patients who had passed away the night before, a 6-year-old child who had been in the terminal ward for 2 months, I saw his eyes fill up with tears. I feel sorry for him sometimes. It can't be easy working with the terminally ill, watching your patients snatched away with impudence as you look on helplessly. Your nostrums and your science useless abstractions. What does that do to a man when failure at your workplace is a routine? What questions must he ask himself in the late hours of the night when sleep evades him? Who does he turn to? God? I don't know, drugs? Probably drugs. It's probably drugs. He once told me that doctors treat patients to the best of their abilities, but it is God who cures. Okay, so God and drugs. He said that he's seen too much to believe that human beings can ever hold all of the universe's mysteries in their hands. Well, give us time, dude. Jesus Christ. We've only been here for like, what? 50,000 years in this version? Come on. It's like the old, what? Probably saying, I'm gonna say, the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. That's true. Well, I feel worse, I feel better. I mean, this isn't the time to lie, so, you know, let's be truthful. I'm sorry to hear that, but I have some news that might make you feel better. What's that? It's about your test results. The scans are back from the labs. They indicate that the last batch of drug we received from the NCDC, Psy-K, if you remember, is possibly having an effect on the disease. It's the latest formulation sent by the NCDC from their labs. I wish I could tell you that there's remission. There is, however, a slowing down of the cellular alteration. It's still too early to make any conclusions, though. We'll wait. We'll watch. So, what does that mean in terms of how long I've got? We've talked about this. At this point, there's no accurate way to predict life expectancy. We're still figuring out the pathology of the disease. It could be weeks, months, maybe over a year. But there are too many parameters that seem to influence lifespan. Well, knowing might give me some kind of relief. Not really. Your state of mind affects your recovery, and we need all the help we can get. I will tell you when we've progressed a little more with the treatments. I've sent your last blood samples back to the NCDC. They've sent back a fresh batch of Psy-K with an upgraded genome target. We're only halfway through your treatment, remember? I want you to seize hope, to trust the process. Once we nail its pathology, we'll have a good shot at stopping it cold. I smile, nod, and don't believe a word that he's saying. I've seen the x-rays. The necrosis which began in my legs was spreading into parts of my abdomen and is encroaching on my lungs, a dark shadow growing within. I want you to trust us. We're doing our best. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go. We've got our hands full. The nurse will come around to give you your morning doses. He leaves quickly, and I'm alone once more. I seem to feel the disease moving within me as it makes its way into my belly, my lungs, and towards my brain. I fall into a fitful sleep. At least he can sleep. I'm startled awake. It's late afternoon and I hear the sounds of a ruckus outside my room. A commotion and a snarling, like that of some enraged animal. I must be still asleep and dreaming. My dreams have grown so vivid of late. After all, who would bring an animal into the terminal wing of a hospital? I try to sit up, but I can't. I'm so weak. I can feel the disease wreaking its dread destruction within me. I sense it coursing to my veins. Malignant, other bent on my demise. I am aware of this all the time. The shadow of death that stalks me. I rage against it, plea with it, but I can't turn away from it, not even for a second. The odd noises pass quickly. Maybe he was just, I fall back into restless sleep. Maybe he was just dreaming. Who's this guy? Oh. Hello, sorry to wake you up. It's time for your evening doses. Nurse Puven? My regular nurse and perhaps the coldest nurse on the planet. I've rarely seen him smile. Well, he's in the terminally ill ward of a hospital, so I mean, unless he's freaking Patch Adams or the Indian Patch Adams, then, he's not gonna smile much. He does his job diligently, but he resists all the attempts to have a conversation. Sometimes I catch him looking at me with an unreadable expression. What do I see in his eyes? Pity? Let's see. Did anything weird happen out there in the hall? He's silent for a moment. Not that I know of. I heard a growling, like an animal's. It's probably the meds. Psyche is known to have strong side effects, including lucid, vivid dream states. Something about the way he responds, the shit in his tone, makes me wonder. I get the feeling you're not telling me something. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I've told you what I can. But see, told you what I can, it doesn't mean that he's not hiding something. He's just telling me what he can. So maybe I did hear the stuff outside. Can I see the doc? Those dreams shook me up. I'll put a note in it for the doc. He's on his rounds now and he'll come to see you later. The doc did mention that you were in a troubled frame of mind. I've added a sedative in your IV which will help. You'll sleep like a log. That should help you with the bad dreams. Or it's gonna keep me in the bad dreams. He leaves and I'm once more alone with my thoughts. That's a dangerous place to be. Alone with your thoughts. Let's see, what's this? NCDC, Secure Communication Portal. To Dr. Suresh. From Dr. Ramesh Nair. We're working on the blood samples and we're almost done with the sequencing. Meanwhile, here's a little info you requested. Good luck though, this thing has been a real bitch to nail. The first recorded case was in Romania. Really? The victim, a man named Parlov G. You know what? Being someone from Romania, that does not sound like a Romanian name. Who lived in one of the southern villages. Which one? There are lots of them. One morning his wife noticed odd bruises covering his back. He was the kind of man who wouldn't visit a doctor unless he was at death's door, she told reporters later. A few weeks later he lost 10 kilos and was so weak he could barely walk. He was finally taken to a hospital, but his condition continued to deteriorate rapidly. They discovered that swaths of cells were dying for no apparent reason, necrosis spreading through his body. Its spread eventually caused catastrophic organ failure and then death. His body was burned immediately in fear of an outbreak, and his village was quarantined. That does not sound like something that would happen, even in Romania. But nothing happened. There was no outbreak. Whatever the disease was, it wasn't contagious, not in the way we understand contagion. The next case was reported a few weeks later in Mumbai, India, but at the time nobody connected the two. It was only when a third case in Germany occurred that the National Disease Control Centers were galvanized into action and began to compare data. You know the rest. Its cellular structure is mutating in every host, so we're still trying to lock down its pathology. Everyone thought it was bacterial at first, yet no known antibiotic could touch it. Then there was the genetic theory. Laughable, really. Its transmission is a mystery because there's only one way it can be transferred from one person to another. Direct fluid transfusion into the bloodstream. Like AIDS, that disease from a bygone era. Hence, mass contagion isn't a concern. And you know how it's got its name. In the X-rays and CT scans, the spreading necrosis resembles a growing shadow. Hence the name. Umbra Mortis. You know what? If you want to find a name for a disease, don't find a creepy name for it. That's you can't just call it Umbra Mortis. It's like, anyway. I mean, AIDS, AIDS doesn't sound scary like that. Hey sleepyhead, I've been here for 20 minutes now. You were out like a baby. Seeing her fills me with conflicting emotions. Regret, desire, love, anger. When she was here last, I told her, as coldly as I could, to not visit me again. But Anita isn't easy to dissuade. Why didn't you wake me up? I didn't want to wake you up. You looked exhausted. It's 9:30 a.m. It's a Tuesday, so I know that she had to be at work by 9 a.m. for a team meeting she conducts. Let's see. It's good to see you, but didn't we decide we wouldn't do this? Stop, okay? I know what you're trying to do, and it's not working. I'm not that stupid. I know you're being sweet, honey, like you always are. It's regretful that it took a terminally ill disease to make me realize I love her. On hindsight, the arguments we had, and which I sulked over, seem trite and laughable now. I marvel at how stupid I was. Yet, in a bitterly ironic twist, I don't want her anywhere near me now. The disease is not contagious, but my misery might as well be. She deserves a wholesome life, not to be stuck in a room with a dying man. You're stubborn as ever. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Yes, the sight of her moves me. I know that if I close my eyes I will see it. The abyss of what could have been. Anita as my wife. The two of us together. Kids. The future. But I don't want to go there. I pull myself back from those thoughts with some effort. I've been in that abyss before and I don't want to go back there again. There's no respite there, only endless dark and yammering questions and the ever-present threat of insanity. How are things with your mother? Well, it's the usual. Ups and downs, mostly downs though. She hasn't been talking to me for a week now, putting me through a guilt winger because I forgot to call. Nothing new to report there. She pauses, and I see a flicker of worry. But there's weird stuff going on. Since you're not on the networks anymore, you aren't seeing the reports, the rising hysteria and rumors that the number of people infected by Umbra Mortis is growing. I wouldn't trust social media, it's full of fake news. Do you think any of that's true? Well, I don't know. There's no official word from our government. The official line is that all's normal and that spreading false rumors and creating panic is punishable by law. Sounds like, I don't know, like you're living in, I don't know, Orwell's books, or, you know, the UK, or New Zealand. But on social media everyone seems to know someone who's caught it, and they're not sure how it's spreading. When you got it 8 months ago, it felt like there were only a handful of people, right? Or so we thought. It felt like we just lucked out. An understatement. I didn't feel like we lucked out. I slipped into the abyss, and there I trashed and burned for weeks. But folks are saying that it was just not being reported. And there's even more crazy rumors that the disease is changing somehow. I've seen viral videos of... She falls silent. Videos of what? Actually, never mind, really. I don't think you need to be bothered with these things right now. Just focus on getting better, okay? Thank God you're off the networks. It's all just alarmist to rabid noise anyway. Look, I gotta go now. I'll see you soon. For reasons I can't explain, I sense a deep foreboding fills me. A sense of deep foreboding fills me. Within me the disease continues its relentless passage, a malefic shadow cast upon my flesh. He's being very poetic. I wake up in the dark and I hear the strange noises again, a low animal growling. I must be dreaming. Of late, my dreams are getting more vivid. When I wake up, I can't remember what it was that I dreamed about, but I come awake sweating and terrified. I become fully aware of my body, of my dying body, of the thing within that is killing me. I can sense its desire to consume me from within, to chew through my flesh and escape into the world. It's insatiable. I can feel its dread hunger. Such hunger. Dude, he's really, like, in a bad situation. Alright, another secure communication. Let's see. Okay, so it's 2038, okay. So this would be, you know, almost 20 years from now. So the last 5 batches of random trials are all telling us the same thing, and it's scaring the hell out of us here. I can't tell you too much, Who knows, even this network may be monitored. It's common knowledge that Umbra Mortis has been mutating, creating variants of itself in each successive host, manifesting differently. Huh. That's what it made it possible to target. You can't target a disease unless you have its genome locked down. But now the mutations are slowing down. In fact, there have been no mutations in the last 2 generations of the infected. That means we'll have a shot at an antigen. That ought to be good news, right? Well, yeah. Well, it's not. Well, no, why not? Because the last manifestation of Umbra Mortis in the human body, the final variant, if you will, is unlike anything we've seen before. The blood samples you sent us display the same variant. I'm sending you another batch of Psyche which we've tried to modify to address this. I'll send you some more later. Meanwhile, be careful. Huh. Be careful why? The doctor hasn't come to see me today yet, which is uncharacteristic. I paged for the nurse to get me some water and it's been an hour. Where's the doctor? I'm sorry, he's got his hands full today. All of us do. I'm going to put some sedative in your IV. That should help you calm down a little. Wait, why are they sedating me all the freaking time? I mean, come on, man. I want to be awake. Not so fast. What's going on? Yeah, exactly. Always sedating. How do you mean? Let's see. Is it true that more people are contacting Umbra Mortis? For a moment it seems he will say something. Then he simply leaves. What the hell? Damn them. What's going on? Well, they're definitely not telling me something. Well, they didn't tell me that it's mutating. I wake up with a start. Aware that someone is in the room with me. I turn and see. Look, I was never here. I'm doing this because, well, I think you have the right to know. Things are getting out of control anyway, so all this bullshit about classify this and classify that, I don't even think it matters. I'll tell you this, they don't have anything under control. This thing, Umbra Mortis, it's not what we thought. How do you mean? You asked me earlier about Umbra Mortis. What do you know about it? I'm sure you've heard that it isn't contagious except through blood or cellular transfer. So you don't know how you got it. Nobody knows how it started either. What we do know is that it causes necrosis within your body, the dead cells spreading until it destroys all major organs. In rare cases it happens in days, but for most people it takes months, even years. We don't know why there's this variation. Have they discovered anything new? Well, obviously they've been working on learning more about its pathology in the hope of finding a cure. There were lots of mistakes. At one point they even thought it was bacterial. Then they were saying it could be genetic. They said that it could have been like a genetic time bomb, having lain dormant in the genome of certain individuals all along, finally triggered by some random juxtaposition of chemical events nobody can figure out. Then the NCDC were sequencing the hell out of its DNA, and that's how they figured out the mutation thing. What's that? They observed that the disease was subtly changing itself with each generation of those infected. You could say that Umbra Mortis was evolving. Evolving? I know it's how it sounds, but that's what they saw. Its pathology, its cellular construct, was altering itself with each host. That's scary. Yes, imagine a virus strain that modifies the human genome and triggers a genetic snowball effect. But viruses don't change so rapidly, so then the theories got crazier. There were whispers in some circles that it's an artificial construct, a genovirus cooked up in some subterranean government lab that somehow escaped. Man-made? I know, warfare, tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, all the rest. The classic escaped man-made virus trope. And all the usual suspects starting piping up. The church calling it an act of God, just like they've done for every inexplicable disease in history. And then there are the alien incursion theorists. They're calling it a deadly payload from the stars. Aliens, man! Now in the last update from the NCDC, they've observed that in the most recent batch of patients, including in yourself, the mutations of the disease appear to have stopped. The cellular mutations are attaining stasis. That's good, right? Yes, they could, but there's a complication. In the last generation of the disease, it appears Umbra Mortis causes cataclysmic changes to the cellular structure of the host, particularly in the central nervous system. Oh, great. We're not sure how it's causing those changes or how they're working. I sense he's lying, hiding something from me. Before I can ask him, he leaves. What, really? Come on, he just stops in the middle of the conversation and goes. It's kind of weird. What the hell? This is screwed up. Oh, okay, more emails. So I guess by now it's all out there, my old friend. I'm sorry we'll have to end our communications like this. I almost admire it, Umbra Mortis. It is devious. And if it is a created thing, well, it's been designed by a manic genius, a chemical coder par excellence, the devil himself. Or maybe the religious are right. Maybe this is the wrath of God. By the time you read this, you'll have already seen the transformations in the last batch of the infected. Oh, great. Transformations? Well, you're turning zombies? I'm sorry, but we have no more psyche to send you. You're just going to have to let things play out with your remaining patients. We still do not know how this originated, but we sure as hell know how it was intended to spread. Oh god, we know that now. Get away, Suresh. I guess it's Suresh. Get the hell away from there as soon as you can. Don't try to be a hero. Not this time. Okay. Oh. Hello, I'm sorry to come to you like this. I have held out for a while, but now I'm obligated to let you know that the situation has changed. Is that blood? My sense of foreboding grows. I feel my skin burning up with a fever, yet when I raise my hand to my forehead, it's cold to the touch. Anxiety grips me, a near manic energy. Doc, is that blood on your coat? We've done our best. I want you to know that. We did everything we could. He seems to be talking more to himself than to me. I held out. Many didn't stay. The government has declared an emergency and troops are moving into every major city. This is the last shot of psyche that I have. But there's something I need to tell you. What is it? The last few doses of psyche, the latest batches of the drug, weren't being administered to stop the necrosis. In fact, the necrosis caused by Umbra Mortis is irreversible and cannot be stopped. The drug is being given to you to freeze the transformation that the final variant of the disease is causing in you. Now that we're out of the drug, based on the timelines we've seen in the others, you'll probably start seeing the changes in about 24 to 48 hours. I will administer this now, and then leave. Changes? What kind of changes? I'm sorry. He injects a vial full of psyche into my arm. I have no strength to move and he Come on, man! A little explanation here? I wake up in the dark again to utter silence. Something is happening to me. Something is changing. I'm not sure what. I'm dying, aren't I? A dark fever grips me. I feel like there's a fire in me. An unquenchable, all-consuming fire that can never be put out. Will I simply burn up? I'm slipping in and out of wakefulness. Wake up! Wake up! I see her before me and again I am besieged by conflicting emotions. Desperation, rage, desire. Dude, you can't get horny now, you're dying and you're transforming. I'm torn between wanting to tell her to go away and to beg her to stay. She seems so vivid, so alive. What are you doing here? I had to see you. Things are bad out there, really bad. Are you okay? I am not. I came to tell you that I'm leaving. I have to go. Where are you going? I have to leave town. They're saying there are camps up north, pockets of quarantined areas where the disease has not hit yet. There's a group of people leaving for it and I have to go with them. What's going on? The hospital staff has fled. The military is fast approaching the city and they're enforcing a quarantine. There's only a few hours to get going. But I had to come see you for one last time. I was hoping that you'd still be here. You shouldn't have come at all. I know that it was a risk coming here. I don't even know if I'll make it back. The roads are jammed up. There's chaos everywhere, and there's terrible stuff happening on the roads. I was nearly caught twice, but I had to come. I had to tell you before I left. If only I could take you with me, but I can't. You're not making much sense. I'm so sorry, baby. I love you so much. So this is it, and not in the way I had imagined it. I should be feeling glad that she's leaving, but I'm not. Despite all my bravado and fall attempts at nobility, I despair at this turn of events. A part of me wants her so bad, and now that I know she's going, now that I know it's for real, the reality of it hits me. I try not to cry, but it's hard. I don't want her to go, yet I want her to go. I want her to be safe, yet I want her to be with me. The emotions threaten to tear me asunder. Looking at her, I no longer feel weak. In fact, in an odd way, I feel alive, as if the vibrancy of her being is crying out to me. I can almost hear her heart beating. I can almost hear the quickness in her breath. The fire that grips me rages, rises, and the incredible hunger roars up like a dark tide. Unable to help myself, I move towards her. She looks at me and I see a terrible thing in her eyes. I see fear. She leaves. I'm alone with the thing inside me, the shadow of death, the abyss of what might have been, the clawing, hungry, yammering thing that is burning me up within. Damn, dude. How did I get here? What am I doing outside my room? I don't remember getting out of bed. I don't feel so weak. Is that blood on the floor? Where is everybody? This must be a dream because I feel sprightly, alive. Maybe the final stage of the disease bring vivid dreams like these? Go back to my room or keep walking? No, let's keep walking. I walk down the hallway. A trail of blood leads out of the room to my left. What happened here? This doorway to my right is slightly ajar. It appears to lead into a room much like my own. Could there be someone in there? I hear the low growling again. Is there someone inside? I need to see. I call out. There's no response. Oh dude, you really shouldn't go there. I open the door. A room, much like my own. The bed is soaked with blood. A figure stands in the corner, perfectly still, cloaked in shadow. Don't go near it! It does not move, and I can feel its gaze upon me. Yet, incredibly, I feel no threat from it. I almost feel a kind of kinship. I call out to it, but there's no response. I back out of the room and into the corridor. What did I just see? I nearly run into the nurse, move on before I see him. Back off! Back the fuck off! I saw something. Someone in that room. Back off! I'm leaving, alright? Just let me go! Why are you talking to me like this? Get back! Just let me pass, please! Everyone's gone. I came back to get the last batch of antibiotics from the dispensary before I leave town. Medicines will be scarce now that everything is shot to shit. I can hear his heartbeat. I can smell his fear. It is a sweet smell. How vibrant his being is. How alive. I can hear the blood coursing through his veins. I can almost taste it. Taste him. His flesh. his blood. Something inside me lurches forward, baying, hungry. Whoa, something has happened. Something terrible, yet wonderful. I can't think about it. The world disappears. Did he just attack the nurse? He attacked him. Back in my room now. I must still be in the dream because I feel so strong, so wonderfully strong. This room feels familiar. Like home. Like a den. I never want to leave here. What have I become? He killed him! My hunger consumes me. And you consume others then. I no longer see it as something apart from me. Umbra Mortis, the shadow of death. Maybe I have accepted it. The inexorability of this disease and thus the inevitability of my fate. For a brief moment, a whisper of that old question arises. Do I have a soul? And then the question is gone. Forever, I suspect. The abyss is gone. What might have been forgotten. My memory of Anita persists, a lingering shadow in my mind. Yet even Anita no longer seems to matter, and I feel no sorrow. It is just me and this eternal night. And what? Well, that was kind of an abrupt ending. So yeah, everyone, that was Umbra Mortis. I mean, okay, so I guess the disease transformed him in a monster that consumes, living beings, but they don't attack each other. Interesting. It's kind of weird that you don't really see that, like a visual change, and I was thinking maybe that would be the case, but yeah. So everyone, again, that was Umbra Mortis. If you want to check it out yourself, you want to play it and make some different choices. I'm not sure if there's other endings, but obviously there's different options than I made. So if you want to try out those and see what happens, you can check out Umbra Mortis. Umbra Mortis is available on itch.io right now. It's available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Developed by Crux Game Studios. You can download the game for free, or you can give the developers, $1, $2, $3, $5, $10, however much you like. Maybe give some feedback too, say what you like, what you didn't like, and I don't know. It feels like it could have delivered more in terms of information, in terms of what was going on, with the other people, with the city, with the character. But I don't know, it kind of feels like it's like a setup for a sequel where you get to experience more of how Umbra Mortis transformed our character, and the craziness that this disease has brought upon the world. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe an Umbra Mortis 2 where you get to see the disease spreading even more, and you see the effects, and you becoming more of a monster, consumed by this disease. And I don't know if that's the plan, but that would be interesting actually to see. But anyway, for now, check out this build. It is available, as I mentioned, for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux on Steam. Sorry, not on Steam, on itch.io. Maybe on Steam later, but no, right now it's on itch.io. So yeah, check it out. Thanks again everyone for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up really quick, and if you like what I do here, consider subscribing. That would be actually immensely helpful if you could subscribe. Tell other people about the channel, spread the word if you can. Check out the back catalog, because I have over, let me see, at this point, over 2,260 videos, so there's tons and tons of cool games to discover on there. All you have to do is take a look. Just take a look, and you'll definitely find some cool indie games that you've never heard of, but that you'll enjoy. And if you can, take half a minute to see the ways through which you can support me. They're all in the description below. You can either give me a direct donation through PayPal, or you can support me with the purchases that you make on the Epic Games Store, the Humble Store, Fanatical, in those cases you have to use either an affiliate link or a creator tag. It doesn't cost you anything extra, so you don't pay more for the stuff that you want to buy from those stores. You just tell, you know, the store that to send me a little bit of a small percentage of the money you spend there. So it's a very small thing that you can do. It costs you nothing, and it goes a pretty long way, because you know 10 cents there, 5 cents there, you know, it adds up to, I don't know, a cup of coffee at least, and it matters. It really does matter. Now, last but not least, check out the Brave browser. There's a referral link in the description. Download it, try it out. It's really cool. It's a privacy-focused open source browser that I've been using for more than 2 months now. It replaced Chrome for me, and it might do that for you too, or it may replace Opera, or it may replace Firefox or Edge if you're using Edge. And you know, just I think it's a really cool browser. It has a built-in ad blocker, so you don't have to install an extension just for that. It blocks trackers. Again, it's privacy focused, so if you don't want every single company out there to have absurdly detailed, you know, profiles on you based on your online activity, then try out the Brave browser. Let me know what you think. Thanks again everyone for watching, and until the next time we see each other, have an awesome day.